Hey everybody, this is the Centaur again, coming back at you. And I've really been liking that some of y'all have been commenting on the videos, and some of y'all have been liking. I certainly hope you'll subscribe and like and even comment if you like this content. And I'm really hoping to grow and really hoping to give you the kind of content you want. So I noticed a lot of people like my best affordable gentleman's fragrance, the Bentley Intense review. If you haven't seen that yet, I invite you to check it out. But this time, I was thinking that I think some of the gentlemen, maybe the more established, maybe the older gentlemen, maybe aren't getting as much appreciation in the fragrance world. You know, a lot of these young guys, they like Sauvage, and before that it was Acqua di Gio or whatever. It's new and exciting. Maybe we need kind of a golden years or a hallback kind of review. So I thought I'd put that on for you. In all honesty, I kind of rated my dad's collection. Kind of chose what I thought would fit, fit best out of the collection for this review. And honestly, I wasn't sure how long it would take me to make a top 10. But I think you guys need to be appreciated. I think you guys need maybe some ideas about something new, or maybe something you might have forgotten about, or maybe some of these young guys like myself need to smell some of these and get some education, know what's really good or what is good. So that's what I got for you today, a top 10 list of the best Gentlman, best classic fragrances out there. And these first two aren't particularly classics yet, but I think they fall into that category. So I guess we'll start off with that. The first one I have for you is Van Cleef & Arpels in New York. So this fragrance is very interesting. Let me spray it for you. I'll probably have cologne all over my hands just like any other reviewer before the end of this. It definitely smells more modern of any of these in the collection. So don't think I'm forgetting your favorite classic fragrance, or this isn't really for you. This smells a little bit aquatic in a way, but it's definitely nothing like Acqua di Gio. It has a little bit of sweetness, has a little bit of incense to it. I wouldn't say it smells exactly like Midnight in Paris, but as it dries down, it has a little bit of fullness and tonka. It doesn't have the same feel that Midnight in Paris has, which is playful and perhaps romantic. I think this one's just a little bit more casual. It's smooth, it's relaxed. I think it's a somber kind of fragrance that you could really enjoy, and on a rainy day, or in the library, or whenever you feel like you want to maybe keep to yourself, or you're just feeling real kind of like nostalgic. That's what this fragrance feels to me for some reason. I don't know why, and it reminds me of cameras for some reason. And I haven't had too many fragrances that feel nostalgic to me, so that's what I get from this. So if you wanted something that kind of blends the past with the new, this one might be good for you. If you're a younger guy, 25, maybe 30, and you kind of liked Midnight in Paris, or had heard of it, but you wanted something maybe that was even more versatile, and you don't like the prices of Midnight in Paris, I recommend you check this one out. Look up the notes specifically and get your feel of it. See what you think of it. I think it has a nice quality to it. It's well blended. It's kind of a nice aromatic. It's kind of like the older brother to Starwalker without the fruitiness. So this is a good one. Van Cleef & Arpels in New York. The next one I have for you is D Squared Heatwood. Now this is a fragrance that was really popular about 5 or so years ago, and then it kind of got popularity really quickly, and it kind of died down really quickly. I don't know why. The longevity in New York, and a lot of these fragrances is kind of similar, which is funny. Like this one, like in New York, you get about 30 minutes or so really good projection, or fairly good, and it starts slowing down or dying down after the 2-hour mark. You get about 6 hours longevity. But what does this smell like? This one too is one of the ones that smells a little bit more modern. It smells a little bit aquatic, but it has a little bit of that vetiver feel or DNA to it. Nothing as rugged as Terre d'Hermes, but it kind of has a little bit of that feel, and it has a little bit of violet, like in Dior Fahrenheit. So it has that ruggedness. It does smell quite good, I have to say. I don't think anybody would complain about this one. It's not particularly as rugged or as dry or as green or as animalic as some of these other classics I have coming up in the list. But this one still is good. I would definitely recommend it more for the middle-aged man, or something casual for the gentleman. If you want something that is kind of in the middle, maybe in limbo, you could say. I do think Rocky Mountain Wood, which is the flanker of this one, is a little bit better. It has a little bit of a stronger woody base, but the feel of it is a little bit different, maybe a touch drier. But this is a good one. I would recommend it to you. So in quick succession here's number 3. It's Lolita Limpica Au Masculine. There we go. So this one is probably the wild card out of the list, honestly. Again, this might be considered a hidden gem. I don't think this one gets talked about a lot. It has a lot of really interesting notes if you pull up fragrantica. What do I smell out of it though? Again, it smells a little bit aquatic, but this one has a little bit of licorice. It definitely has an herbal quality, but it's well blended. It doesn't seem to have much of a woody base, but somehow it pulls off a base, and the projection and the longevity again are about the same here, where you get a good 2 hours or so, where it's really noticeable, and about 6 hours or so longevity. And let me smell it here for you. For me personally, this is a fragrance for a real character. This is a fragrance for somebody who might like riddles, somebody who likes poems, somebody who's a little bit of a character or an oddball. And nothing's wrong with that. Nothing's wrong with this fragrance. It's just very whimsical. It's just very kind of different, but it's still, again, it's a little bit modern. It's a little bit classic, and I think this is one that's it might stand the test of time. It's really interesting. I can't complain about it. Again, this is my dad's collection. He enjoys this one. He was real surprised. He had found some reviews on it and thought about it for a while, and came to decide that he wanted to try it out. So if this sounds something that you'd be interested in, I'd recommend a smell, or you're buying this one too. Now this is one of the ones that caught me off guard, probably the most, in a good way. This is Cerruti 1881. And now I was expecting a green aquatic fragrance. There's quite a few of them out there. But this one almost smelled like a crossover of one of those classic green fragrances, maybe Polo Green and Acqua di Gio. Maybe like the transition period, like in the late 90s to the early 2000s of, citrus fragrances before we had this sweet craze. So this is aquatic. It's a bit green. Again, it's a little bit herbal. But this one has a distinct spiciness off the top. For some people, it's quite spicy and a little too much to handle, but it's quite nice. It projects fairly well. I was really impressed with it. I think I might wear this one when I guess I'm age appropriate, or I feel I can pull this off. But this again is, I think, going to be a classic fragrance. It truly is good. And if you've been wanting something, a little bit watery and a little bit green, something that's not too heavy, and something that's a little bit spicy, this one probably is just right. If you smelled Aqua di Gio but said, nah, that's a little bit too mainstream back in the day, this might be just for you. It's still got some of those vintage qualities that you probably love, so I recommend this one. Now this one's a character too. This is a Yatagan by Caron, and this one's a real character now. It has a sweetness, but with the sweetness it has a little bit of a dry nature, but it still almost feels resinous. It's not an Arabian fragrance, but it almost smells like it wants to be. It smells a little bit like amber in a way. But why this fragrance is so interesting to me is that it has a little bit of that spiciness like you might find in an Arabic fragrance. It has the amber, so it's almost there. It doesn't have the oud or the rose particularly, but it has a little bit of an animalistic note. And it almost has the smell of nutmeg or some kind of spice that just makes it even a little bit more interesting. And now the animalistic quality of this is not too aggressive. It's blended right in, but it's noticeable. It gives this fragrance a little bit of an edge, like some of those good vintage fragrances, like Violet Leaf gives Dior Fahrenheit an edge. So this definitely is one for the fall. It's definitely one that maybe you could pull off in the winter indoors. It's definitely going to stand out. I think it will smell vintage, but it's not unpleasantly so. And I don't think anybody would really call this dated. It's still quite a good fragrance. So if this sounds like something that's interesting to you, I'd recommend it. And this is a good one. Yatagan by Caron. Now I've been talking about it quite a bit here, and without further ado, here's Dior Fahrenheit. Again, I've mentioned it before in other videos. There's a reason why this was one of the biggest top sellers and one of the Hall of Fame fragrances of all time. It has a really good quality to it. It smells very fancy, but yet rugged and very masculine. The Violet Leaf, it has been toned down with modern batches. If you can look up codes and find vintage formulations if you want the even more aggressive or bold Violet Leaf note. But this fragrance has almost a rising quality to it. Not uplifting as in maybe cheerful, but like heat, like it says, like Fahrenheit. It's bringing the heat, it's bringing the charm. Might make you attractive. I'm sure this was a lady killer back in the day, just like Drakkar Noir was at one point, and it's quite good. It's I do think it's can be a little bit dry in its own way. Some of these fragrances tend to be that way, and I think that dryness comes from a little bit of an edge of leather. So it has a little bit of leather, and this one doesn't have vanilla in the base like the Parfum edition does. So I guess be wary of that if you want a little bit of softness or sweetness. This still has its edge, and it's still quite bold and masculine. I think a lot of men still wear this. I still think it sells well, and for good reason. So this has been Dior Fahrenheit. I'm sure you heard about it. I'm sure you probably smelled it off somebody at one point, but this is quite a good fragrance as well. So Dior Fahrenheit. I guess I'll jump to one of my favorite fragrances on this top 10 list. This is Chanel Anateus, and on FragranceNet in the fragrance world, this is probably one of the, I guess, most respected, or maybe it just has a great cult following to it. This fragrance too has a luxury feel to it. This Chanel Anateus, but it smells green. It has a little bit of a flowery nature that almost smells in a way powdery, but it's not powdery at all. So don't get scared of it that way. It smells quite rugged. It smells like it could have Violet Leaf in it. It has a tiny bit of booziness, I think. But overall, it's a little bit deep. It's balsamic. It's definitely woody. But again, this one gets a little bit of an edge from being a little bit animalic. Now this one is a little bit more animalic than Yatagan is. And some people have reviewed this or said that this was a little bit too much. So now I guess I have a nose that likes animalistic fragrances from time to time. I do like Wolfsbane, but that's another review for another day. But this fragrance, even though I'm in my mid-20s, did something special. I really like this fragrance, and I can't wait until I can really pull this off. And I'll have my own bottle one day. It's deep, it's woody, it's balsamic, but it still has an aromatic richness to it. It's a little bit animalistic, it's a little bit green. It has a little bit of a herbal nature going to it. It's quite good. It's quite classic, I think. I wouldn't say this smells dated, but again, to somebody who's younger, this might to them, but they might not know what's good. So Anateus is definitely something special. So Anateus by Chanel. Let's jump to maybe my personal opinion. My least appreciated fragrance on this list. This is Lalique Pour Homme with the horse. Now, funny enough, the Lalique, its cousin or the brother fragrance to this one. This is the Equus, I believe, but the other one I like. They're quite similar, but in some ways, at least in the beginning. But this one's quite different. So what does this one smell like? It smells aromatic, which means again it has an airiness to it. It fills the air. It smells kind of a little bit carbonated in a way. But this one is quite a unique and quite a daring fragrance in my opinion, but some people absolutely love it. If this smells, in my opinion, here's a little bit of imagery for you. If you were to walk into an old barn, like a ranch that had been abandoned, and so everything's dry, and when you walk into that barn, you smell the dry, hay that has been just weathered away and kind of degraded, and then you smell the wood that's just dry, but it has a story to tell, and then there's a horse saddle in the corner with all that leather and all that history. This is what this smells like to me. It smells very dry. It smells very woody, and it has a little bit, and it has not a little bit. It has a lot of an animal smell, but not animalistic, not fecal or dirty, but it has that smell like you might smell off a horse, in my opinion. And I have been near some, and I have been near some, ranches. And it has nutmeg. It has some of that spice that you can get on, the rinds or the skins of some of those spices. I wouldn't say it has cinnamon. It might have clove, but this one's really interesting. It's really daring. But if you're a guy who's into westerns, if you're a guy who is a cowboy, this might be for you. I think it would represent you well. So here's this one. I gotta shorten this review up. This is my first top 10, and it's taking time. So here we go. This is Lalique Pour Homme. I believe it's Equus, but look for the one with the horse. So here we go. This is our second to last fragrance here. This is Bogner Deep Forest. And this one is really interesting. It has a floral nature on the top, but a masculine floral. I think it must have a little bit of a masculine rose in it. But overall, it's a green composition, like green compositions can be, vintage ones. But it's not as deep, not as dark as some of those other ones, especially the Anateus and the next one I'm going to show you. But this one has a little bit of an edge, a masculinity. It almost smells like that violet leaf because of how those florals come off. I want to say it must have something like a little bit of incense or something that's a little bit dry and a little bit something really interesting off the top. I really can't put my nose on it. I believe it to be an accord that has a little bit of spice and a little bit of nuttiness and maybe a little bit of violet, but it has all kinds of herbs working together and in harmony in the opening. And that opening and the composition really travels down with the base and the greenness, and it really gives you something that could be considered a deep forest or enchanted forest kind of smell. As far as vintage green fragrances go, I do think this is one of the best. If you liked Polo Green and you want something to replace it and something that's different, or if you wanted a green fragrance like your dad had and you didn't know where to look to, this one's a little bit different. I really appreciate it for that. And this one's a little bit lighter, but it's interesting, distinct. So it has a little bit of an allure to it, which I like when a fragrance is able to pull that off. So this is Bogner Deep Forest. So it's an interesting one. Now, I guess this is the second to last. I think I misspoke there. I said this would be the last. This is Davidoff's Zeno. So Zeno might be my favorite out of all this list. It is a wonderful fragrance. It has a dry balsamic nature, so that balsamic vinegar, it has a little bit of that smell to it. It has a dryness to it. But the funny thing is, even though it's deep and it's dark and it's masculine, it still has a romantic edge to it. It has rose, it has some florals mixed in there. It doesn't smell sweet by any means, like a modern romantic fragrance might, but it has a little bit of sensuality to it. So I find this fragrance alluring, or quite good too. And this one probably lasts the longest on skin with longevity, probably being about 8 hours. So I really recommend this. You can find this one at discounters now. I mean, a lot of these are great deals. So this is a Zeno by David. So here's the last review. Here's the last one, I promise you. This is Chanel's Pour Monsieur, or Monsieur. I don't speak French. Forgive me if anyone French is watching this video. But this might be the best one on the list. On Fragrantica, under the same name, Centaur, I said this was a perfect barbird fragrance. A perfect fragrance for somebody who's looking to, relax in a luxury lounge. This fragrance has booziness, it has green, it has a luxury feel to it. Overall, it smells a little bit like mojito, believe it or not. That Guerlain Pour Homme parfum that I have and love so much, it has a little bit of that smell to it. It has citrus. It has a little bit of an aggressive lime to it. So, and that lime is actually, I've grown to love it off the top. It helps, blend the fragrance and helps your nose get that citrus and the kind of the feel for the fragrance in the opening. And the citrus is nice that it kind of lasts with the fragrance, a good while. And this one doesn't have the best longevity, and there's a concentrate version, which is better, and I would recommend it. But this one does project fairly good, but it doesn't last too long, which is kind of sad. I think it lasts about 4 hours, but it does smell so good for, when it does last. This might be one of the most natural smelling and perhaps the best smelling out of all of these in this list. So this fragrance, especially the concentrate version again, is something to behold. If you haven't smelled niche before, the niche fragrances, or gotten into luxury fragrances, above Dior and Chanel, this might be the most natural and the best thing you've ever smelled. So I highly recommend Pour Monsieur by Chanel. Now this is the end of the video. I appreciate you sticking to the end with me. And I wish I could give you a reward, but I guess the reward is sticking this out together. So again, these fragrances are all great. I encourage you to do your own investigation with the notes and what maybe other people have said. Compare my thoughts with those you read, or maybe those you think, or maybe you just go and buy them because they're so dang affordable if you go to discounters and like fragrantica. And I guess that's my little secret for you if you stuck through to the end of this video. Discounters like fragrantica are reputable, they're reliable, and I bought quite a few of my fragrances from them. And you can find a lot of these fragrances. There's quite a few other really good vintage fragrances, but I don't have access to them, or they're discontinued. I guess I'll give a quick honorable mention to Carterel, which can be found, is not discontinued, and has a great nutmeg note, and is a great aromatic too. But Harry Ellis, For Home, the original, that one's discontinued, but that was a great vintage. Azzurro, the vintage batch, is great. Hugo Boss, For Home, the vintage, is great. There are some out there if you're willing to pay the price and have the patience. But these ones are available, and I hope I shared something with you that's new and interesting, something you know, dandy gentlemen can go out smelling good, or you know, maybe relive your past if that's what you're looking to do. But this has been my top 10 list of classic gentleman fragrances. I truly hope you've enjoyed it. If you like this content, please like, comment, and subscribe. And I'm looking to increase my quality of my reviews and improve my game for you guys. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite vintage or classic fragrance is. I didn't tell you about my favorite one. That's going to be a review. It deserves its own review, so stay tuned for that one. Let me know what yours is. Maybe if it was a different formulation, that doesn't matter. So don't feel bad if that's your favorite, or if it was your favorite. You said back in the day they made them right. So let me know in the comments below. Let me know how I'm doing. Let me know how I can improve. Let me know how I can serve you. Because that's what I'm here for. This has been the Scentatar channel here on YouTube, where we are half fragrance and half people, where we have this passion. So hope this has been something special for you guys, and sharing this evening with me. Y'all have a good one. Y'all have a great day tomorrow. I know it's going to be. So I'll see you then. Bye.